So let's continue here, because the other example wasn't good. Now it's okay. So what will happen to the rest if I add 12 units to the subtrahend? So look, I have the number 98 minus 23. This subtraction, the rest is 75. I'm going to add 12 units to the subtrahend. So my new subtrahend is 35. And when I do the subtraction, the result is 63. And if I take the rest 75 minus 63, this gives me 12. So when I add 12 in my subtrahend, I subtract 12 from my rest. Okay, the operation is the opposite with the same quantity. Now what happens if I subtract 7 units from the minuend and add 8 units to the subtrahend? So if I have 98 minus 7, it becomes 91. If I had 34 and I add 8, it becomes 42. The first subtraction, it is 64. The second subtraction, it is 49. So from 64 to 49, I subtract 19. Take a look, I subtract 7 from the minuend, I subtract 7 in the result. If I add 8 in the subtrahend, I subtract 8 in the result. That's why in the end I subtracted 15. Then the letter C. What happens if I add 15 units to the minuend? So I have 92 minus 11, it is 81. If I add 15 units to my minuend, my new minuend is 107. Minus 11, this gives me 98. From 81 to 98, I added 15 units. So I make the conclusion that what I add in the minuend is the same quantity I add in my rest. What happens if I subtract 9 units from the subtrahend? So let's take this example. 98 minus 29 is 69. And I'm going to subtract 9 units from the subtrahend. My new subtrahend will be 20. 98 minus 20, it's 78. So from 69 to 78, I increased 9 units. So we conclude that what I subtract from the subtrahend is the same quantity I add to my rest. Then, what happens if we add the same value to the minuend and to the subtrahend? So it doesn't change. For example, 36 minus 10, it is 26. I add 2 in the number 36, it became 38, and I added 2 in the number 10, it became 12. 38 minus 12, it is 26. Pay attention that the result is the same, it didn't change. Then what happens if I decrease? So I subtract 17 units from the minuend. So my rest decrease also. Let's see. 89 minus 12, it is 77. 89 minus 17, it is 72. 72 minus 12, it's 60. From 77 to 60, I subtracted 17 units, right? Now, observe the change suffered by the rest and discover the value that replaces the square. So I have minuend minus subtrahend, the rest is plus 10. I added 10 units to my rest. So if the rest increased to 10, and I also added 5 units by the minuend, I have to add also 5 units by my subtrahend. But remember that the operation the subtrahend is the opposite. So if I want to add 5, I need to subtract 5 in the subtrahend. Okay? Here, minuend, subtrahend, rest. So at the end, I have a subtraction of 15 units. And it says to me that I add 7 units in my subtrahend. This means that I subtracted 7 units in my rest. And I want to subtract in the total 15. So I have to do 15 minus 7, it will give me 8. So I know that I subtracted 8 units from the minuend. Okay? Then, now think a little. In a subtraction, the remainder is equals to 95. I add 18 units to the minuend and add 11 units to the subtrahend. What will be the new remainder found? So I don't know what are the numbers, so I call them square and triangle. From the square, I added 18 units, and in triangle, I added 11 units. So my first result was 95. If I add 18 units in the minuend, I have to add 18 units in my result. So my new rest, it is 113. But after I add 11 units to my subtrahend, this means that I have to subtract 11 units from my rest. So 113 minus 11, it is 102. So my final result is 102. Then, after decreasing 9 units of the minuend and adding 6 units to the subtrahend, the new remainder found was 42. What is the remainder of the subtraction before the changes? So, take a look. I have a triangle and a square. First, I subtract 9 units from my triangle, right? This means that I had added 9 in my last rest, so it was 51. But after, what happens? I added 6 to my subtrahend, so this means that I subtracted, and then if I want to come back, I have to add 6, right? So 51 plus 6, 58. So my first result, it was 58. Then, here is an example of what happens, okay? So I have 20 plus 10 is 30. And I added 5 units to the first addend, and I subtracted 2 units from the second addend. And then if I do this operation, 25 plus 8, it is 33. And if we check here, 30 to 33, I have added 5 units. And if you do this operation here, 5 minus 2, it is 5, as we saw before. Okay? So, if you have any doubts, tell me and we take in the next class. Okay? Thank you.